Hey there, fourth grade. This is Mr. Campbell. Today we're going to be starting on page 277, and we're going to be working on lesson 7.5. Our focus for today is on multiples. Now, at the end of today, I want you to be able to say, I can use multiplication to find multiples of a number. And this is going to be one where our vocabulary words are going to actually be really helpful for us today. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and slide this over. Go ahead and get there to page 277. And I've written down here just a multiplication problem. So we've got 3 times 5 equals 15. All right, here's your quiz of the day. All right, the answer to a multiplication problem is called what? Our choices are sum, difference, product, or quotient. Do you remember which one it is? Well, I hope that you said it is product. Yeah, product. All right, the product is the answer to our multiplication problem. All right, so the product of 3 times 5 is 15. Now, over here, these two numbers here, we've been talking about quite a bit. And when we multiply these two things together, do you remember what each of these is called? I hope you remembered that these are called factors, right? Those are our factors. All right, those are the things that we multiply together to get our product. Now, there's one new term, and it was right here in our I can statement. Find multiples. Multiples. Well, that's going to be our focus for today. In fact, that's what the whole lesson is called. And the reason for that is when we're trying to find multiples, what we're saying is the multiples will be our product. But there's something special about it. All right, so the multiples will be our answer, but that's only if this factor stays the same. All right, so 3 times 5 equals 15. Well, if I wanted to find multiples of 5, I would change this first factor and then write down what their answers would be. So another example would be, well, 2 times 5 is 10. Now, 15 and 10 are both multiples of 5 because that's the factor that keeps staying the same. All right, let's go ahead and check out on page 278 what we've got there. So here we are on page 278. I'm going to go ahead and read right up here while you get to that page. It takes 8 minutes for car A to make one full turn on the Ferris wheel. If the Ferris wheel continues to turn at the same speed for the next hour, at what times during that hour will car A return to the starting point? So here's car A, all right, on the Ferris wheel. It's going around and around. And so each time it takes 8 minutes. So we want to figure out, well, what are the multiples of 8 that we're going to see during this hour? All right. So if you look here, it says a multiple is a product of a given factor and a whole number. So there we go. Let's check it out. Step 1. One full turn takes 8 minutes. So one turn is 8 minutes. So 1 times 8 is 8. 8 is a multiple of 1 and 8 because 1 times 8 equals 8. So there's that multiple, right? The 8 is what's going to keep staying the same. So we're not always going to have that be our answer over here. But our first one is that 1 times the number is usually the easiest one. So that means car A is back at the starting point after 8 minutes. Well, now let's do our next turn. So 2 times 8, because now we're on the second turn, and each one is 8 minutes. So 2 times 8 equals 16. Car A is back at the starting point after another 8 minutes. So 16 is now a multiple of 2 and 8. All right. And that's what it says down here. 2 and 8 are factors. That's what we talked about before, right? The factors are the things we multiply together. 16 is going to be a multiple because we're keeping that 8 the same. Well, now they're like, oh, we start to see how this works. So step 3 is at the starting point every 8 minutes. So we're going to keep going until we get up to 60 because it's 1 hour is what we're looking for. So 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 8 is 32. 5 times 8 is 40. 6 times 8 is 48. 7 times 8 is 56. All right, so during that 1 hour, remember 60 minutes in 1 hour, so that's why we stopped here. During that 1 hour, car A returns to the starting point after 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, and 56 minutes. These are our multiples of 8. All right, 8 stayed the same every single time. Our multiples changed each time. Well, let's go ahead and turn to page 279, and we can check out a couple more. So I'm going to go ahead and slide over there for us. So here we are on 279. All right. And up at the top, it says another example. Factors are numbers that when multiplied together give a product. Well, that's what we talked about earlier on my little sticky note here, right? We got factors multiply together, give us a product. A whole number is a multiple of each of its factors. So the factors of 24 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. Why are those the multiples? Well, because I can multiply a number by 1 to get to 24. All these different ones I can multiply there. So that's why those are going to be our multiples. Let's go ahead and slide down to number 3 and check out our Do You Know How? All right, so on numbers 3 and 4, we're going to write the 5 multiples of each number. Now, on your independent practice, numbers 7 through 14 are exactly like this. All right, so that's why we're going to focus here for just a minute. So write the first 5 multiples of each number. Well, I'm going to grab a sticky note, a little extra piece of paper here for me. You might have some scrap paper or a notebook that you can take out so you can also write it down. Now it says write 5 multiples of each number. Well, that means I'm going to times something by 2, and these are all going to be different, right? Because this is my factor that's staying the same, and over here will be my multiples. So I just need to write out, well, I like to start with the easiest numbers first. If they don't give me specific multiples I'm looking for, I'm just going to go with the lowest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the reason that I do that is because when I multiply these by 2, these are the easiest numbers that I quickly know. So 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. 5 times 2 is 10. All right, so there we go. Those are my those are 5 multiples of the number 2. So I'm going to write 2, comma, 4, comma, 6, comma, 8, comma, 10. Those are my multiples, and this is how I write it out. I make sure each number is very clearly written with a comma in between, so when somebody else sees this later, they'll go, oh, I can see why it looks that way. Well, let's check out number 4. All right, number 4, we want to write 5 multiples of 9. I'm going to get you started on this one, and then I want you to practice it on your own. All right, so I've got, I'm going to write times 9 5 times, and we may not end up with the same multiples on this one, and that will be okay. You go ahead and figure out 5 multiples of 9. Pause your video, try it right now. All right, I hope you paused your video if you didn't do that right now, so that way you can try this and then check your work now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and choose some numbers for us to multiply by 9. So I'll choose 1 and 2 and 3. And then you know what? I'll go up to 5 real quick because 5 feels easy. And then I'm going to choose 10 because I know whenever I'm times it by 10 is usually an easy number for me too. So 1 times 9 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 9 is 27. Ooh, I almost read a 4 for some reason. All right. 5 times 9 is 45. And 10 times 9 is 90. Now, again, maybe you did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe you just were like, I know my doubles fact. So I did 9 times 9 is 81. Any multiples will work as long as we keep using our times 9s here. All right. So now that I've got that, what are my multiples? Well, the ones I wrote down were 9, 18, 27, 45, and 90. And again, you don't have to have those exact ones. As long as yours are all multiplying by 9, you'll get there. All right. Well, let's check out our next one. So number 5 here. Well, for number 5, it says, tell whether the first number is a multiple of the second number. So we want to ask the question, can I get this to equal 14 if I have 2 over here? So can I times something by 2 to get to 14? That's what they're asking us. Can I make this work? Well, let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yeah, that was 7, right? 7 times 2 is 14. So is 14 a multiple of 2? Well, if 2 is my number there and 14, we would say yes. All right. Let's look at my next one. Tell whether the first number is a multiple of the second number. So I've got 3 is my multiple. And if I'm timesing something by 18, can I do something times 18 to equal 3? No way. If I'm multiplying and my number gets smaller, that's not going to work out. So I'm going to write no on that one because 3 is not a multiple of 18. All right. Now, if they were flipped around, it might have worked. But I can't flip these numbers. They're asking in this specific order. All right. So down here in your independent practice, like I said, this first group right here is what we did for numbers 3 and 4. And then right down here is what we did for numbers 5 and 6. So hopefully you'll be able to get those going. Just remember, all right, that when we're working on our different numbers, all right, our factors are the two things we multiply together, and our answer is called the product. It's a multiple if we are keeping the same factor over and over. That tells us if we've got multiples for that problem. All right, fourth grade, thanks so much for sticking with me today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. We will see you next time.